Movement. What is movement in a human being? How does a runner win the race? How does a high jumper jump clear over that bar? How does a dancer perform all of those steps? How does a human being move in all of the amazing ways that we know are possible? We know that it involves muscles and nerves. Nerves are the wiring that transmit the electrical signal from the brain to the muscle to tell it to either to contract or relax. But what about muscles? We must provide our body with energy so that those muscles can work. Without energy, the muscles are flaccid and flat and loose and unable to do anything. This makes it really difficult for the dancer to dance. So where are we going to get that energy from? It comes from sugar. We all know about sugar. It's that white powdery stuff that we put in our morning coffee. A double-double from Timmy's. But sugar is a name we use to describe a whole class of chemical structure. Sugars are molecules made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Sugars usually form rings, and those rings can connect to form chains. Sugars can be single rings of fructose or glucose carbon atoms. Sometimes, these rings form double sugar molecules called sucrose, and then we can build bigger and bigger sugars by adding more and more rings. Rings and chains are packed with chemical energy stored in the bonds between the atoms. As these sugar chains become longer and longer, they become more complex. And so, these long chains of carbohydrates are the complex carbohydrates that are more healthy for us and full of the energy that we need, especially for the dancers. Complex carbohydrates are those healthy sugars that we find in our grains, fruits, and vegetables. So I'm not talking about from sucrose, the white sugar that you put in your double-double this morning. Instead, how about you try a multigrain muffin to get your energy for movement? In order to access all of the energy packed into these long chains, our bodies need to break down these complex carbohydrates. Like I said before, the dancer needs to perform their steps, and it requires a lot of energy. The wiring is there in the body, connecting their brain to the muscles. The electricity can flow, and signals from the brain race down the electrical wires of the nerves. They're sending messages to the muscles, telling them to contract. Contract! But the muscle won't respond to the message if there isn't any energy there. I think we need more fuel for those muscles, so the dancer will eat that multigrain muffin. As the dancer choose their food. Teeth and saliva start the breakdown of the complex carbohydrates. Short carb trains move through the esophagus, into the stomach, and into the small intestine, where enzymes break all the bonds in the chain, releasing glucose that floats free. We need to capture that glucose and get it into the blood system that will carry it into the muscle. The cells that line the intestine have special gateways in their membranes that recognize and capture glucose molecules. Now the glucose is in the blood. It rushes through the capillaries and arteries, being carried along in that flow of red and white blood cells, plasma, and all the other things circulating in the blood. It moves fast in the artery and travels through capillaries that divide into smaller capillaries and then into a tiny blood vessel which squeezes between big bundles of muscle. A glucose transporter protein in the muscle cell membrane grabs the glucose molecule and pulls it out of the circulation and into the muscle cell. And now, our glucose molecule is inside our muscle cell, where the complex biochemistry happens. The glucose molecule is manipulated and broken apart, releasing the energy that is stored in the chemical bonds. So now, this energy allows the muscles to contract when the nerves send their signals. Thanks to glucose, the dancers had enough energy to perform.